Can Copilot really help me in my day-to-day? And their answer is, of course, everybody is going to have a different experience because their work days are different. But do you have to fill out a form or a questionnaire or an application for something? And if so, when you do that, do you have a source documentation that tells you how to answer certain things? If that's the case, then I'm going to show you a really awesome demo. And I think it's important to get excited about Copilot because it might be intimidating. It might be the sort of thing where it's like, hey, I'm more used to this other tool from this other company, like, ChatGPT. Let me show you some wild stuff, okay? It is, in my opinion, wild. And we're going to use the best capabilities at our disposal, some of which are super new. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to flip over to the latest model from OpenAI that is leveraged by Microsoft, which is GPT-5. That model is very, very powerful, and we're going to need its power to do this. And I want to show you filling out this. So this is a security questionnaire, but I want you to think, hey, do you ever have to fill out an application, a questionnaire, a form? I mean, I would expect the answer to be sometimes, yeah. And for some people, like in procurement and sales and finance, this is a pretty regular thing, right? Not this particular form, but just the fact that we have to fill out forms, right? But I have an answer key, and the answer key looks very different. It's in our security policy. So we have a answer key, but it's not formed like that. It doesn't look anything. These numbers are just internal numbers. They don't line up to the questions at all, okay? So the answers exist, but they're scattered. We've scattered them to the wind, and now we're going to ask Copilot to answer this for us. This is, I think, the single most important thing that I can show you, period. So what we're going to do is we're going to reference our internal work files. We're here in Copilot for work. We're not working with web files. And we're going to say, please fill out. And so I can reference. So if I press the slash that's on the question mark, I get the ability to reference files, and I can narrow down the files or whatever it is. It could be people, files, meetings, emails, sites. I can narrow that down by typing in some of the letters that are contained within that particular resource. So I want to fill out the questionnaire using, I'm going to do that slash command also, slash key, and it's going to be our security policy. When doing so, be concise, brief. Probably don't have to say it twice. I'm going to take myself off screen so you get a chance to see. Yeah, that's a resource. Now, if you don't like using the slash, you can also add work content. So you can attach cloud files, or you can upload. And there's one final way that's kind of like tried and true. If you're ever like struggling finding it, you can go to the file and you can copy the link. So it's entirely possible to just paste the copied link. Okay, so I'm going to paste that just so you get a chance to see. I'm going to press space bar, and it's going to take that and manipulate it. Okay, so it digested that. And so you can copy links. When you share, like, that's just a regular being in a Microsoft environment sort of thing, sharing links, right? You copy, share link. But I got rid of that. Okay. So here we go. GPT-5 on, I need that. This will break if I'm working with the earlier version, but GPT-5 is a rock star. It really is powerful. You know, some people who are AI enthusiasts might debate you, but there's no doubt everybody would agree it's more powerful than anything we had up until a few months ago. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to kick off a capability of GPT-5, which is reasoning. Reasoning is going to allow us to build intermediate steps to a solution. The solution that we need is to identify what has to be done here. We need to have a bit of planning going into filling this out. So it's going to do intermediate steps along the way. So this is not our answer. It's collapsible. It's not our completion. It is doing work behind the scenes. In many ways, this is agentic behavior. Is it an agent? Some of the components inside of it, arguably, yes. Agentic being kind of a catchy term that I try to not use too much. Okay, so we'll let that go through. It's taking. Now, here's the thing. This questionnaire, it's important that we fill it out accurately. And the source documentation of the policy, so effectively the answer key, does exist. Okay? And so we're not asking the AI model to just come out with answers out of thin air. Instead, they are grounded in this document. Doesn't mean it's not capable of getting it wrong. AI is absolutely capable of getting it wrong, but still, it has a good chance of being accurate. Okay, so it says, done. I filled out the security questionnaire concisely. And here's the completed file. Okay, so I'm going to show you the before. The before is expecting to have the last two columns answered. Yes, no, and information that further is a notation about this. Okay, go back to Copilot. Click on that. Open the file. We start thinking, okay, doesn't look different. Oh, whoa. Answers abound. This is so wildly powerful. I mean, this literally takes like 60, 90 minutes. It's a grind, and I have to look it over. I mean, you absolutely have to look it over and go, yep, yep, yep. Now, in practice, you would look it over, scrutinize it, especially for the first like 50 times you use it. And every time you see a mistake, you would want to go back to your policy document and affect it in a way that would make it more likely to hit as a correct answer and avoid future hallucinations. And so the most likely hallucinations you're going to get are when an answer is absent, when that document doesn't have an answer to the query. If you're filling out an application for something, you might get a question you've never seen before, right? That's not that unusual. So this is a very, very sophisticated use of Copilot, and it is using what I think is the most important capability of Copilot, period. And that is being able to work with your work files. Your work files need to exist in a resource area and a location that Copilot can access. That's mainly OneDrive and SharePoint. If it's on your local computer, you need to move it to the cloud in order for that to be available. Hopefully this gives you an idea of the true capabilities of Copilot. This, for me, is a wild demonstration. I deeply appreciate all of the things that's going on because it's really pushing AI to the limit. I'm using GPT-5, which is an awesome model. It's using the reasoning capability of GPT-5, which doesn't always kick on. It's using my work files. And if you're struggling with how to get your work files into Copilot, let's make sure we understand. Specifically, build them as references. So we're going to start a new chat. You can add content. So if it's in the cloud, you can find it there. If it's on your work computer, you can upload it. And one last way, if you just aren't seeing how to get it in there, copy the link, do a share. This works. So I can come back in, paste in a link to the document. This is how you would share across Teams, or maybe you link it in email. You do this in Microsoft 365 already. Most likely, it's a normal thing. So, hey, if you don't, and by the way, sometimes if it's like freshly uploaded, you're going to have a hard time finding it via the reference. So it's totally fine to just use the copied link. But if it's settled down in your OneDrive or SharePoint, if it's been there for hours, days, months, it should be pretty easily findable. And again, slash, and then type in a part of the title, a part of the name of that. And it doesn't have to start with that. It could have it anywhere in, so I just typed in /word, and anywhere that word comes up, see, it's the third word. It's not necessarily the first. Being able to reference files is the real win of Microsoft 365 Copilot.